Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode, we are finally going to resolve the tension between James and Mr. Hoan, from a kidnapping misunderstanding to the most shocking reconciliation in history. James screamed in rage, only to crumble before the image of his clumsy father. What magic did little Ly use to bond these two stubborn men? Today's episode is an emotional roller coaster, from extreme tension to overwhelming happiness, ending with a bone-chilling plot twist regarding Diep's background. What has Mr. Hoan discovered? Don't miss a single second. Hit like and subscribe to join James's family for this fateful dinner. The courtyard of the villa fell into a numbing silence. The night wind blew through the magnolia trees, dropping a few white petals onto the cold gravel. James stood there, his chest heaving after his scream. His breathing was heavy, his face still flushed with lingering anger. But his eyes were glued to the plastic bags in his father's hands. They were bags from a budget supermarket, not the luxury paper bags Mr. Hoan usually carried. Peeking out from inside were packages of butter cookies and gold coin chocolates, the kind little James used to crave after school 20 years ago. And there, a cheap plastic superhero set that baby Ly was clutching tight. A jolt of electricity ran down James's spine, shattering his hot temper. He looked down at his daughter. Ly was looking up at him with wide, innocent eyes. One hand held on to the hem of her grandfather's expensive suit jacket, the other held a lollipop. "Daddy, Grandpa is so nice. He carried me on his back until it hurt." The child's innocent words were like a bucket of ice water thrown in James's face, but also like holy water, washing away the dust of prejudice. James looked up at his father. Under the weak yellow light of the porch, for the first time in years, he saw that his dad looked so old. Mr. Hoan stood there, hands still weighed down by the heavy gift bags, shoulders slightly slumped. He no longer looked like the authoritative, fire-breathing chairman of a corporation. In this moment, he was just an awkward old man, wrongfully accused by his son, but unsure how to defend himself. His eyes looked down, hiding both the hurt and the embarrassment. Memories flooded James's mind. He remembered his childhood, how his father was always strict, always demanding. He had always thought of his dad as an emotionless money-making machine. But he forgot that the machine also knew how to buy the chocolate his son liked, and knew how to clumsily carry his grandchild, even if his back ached and his knees were tired. Regret surged in James's chest, choking him. He realized he was wrong. He had let fear and prejudice cloud his reason. He had screamed at his father, the man who had just tried, however clumsily, to connect with his own flesh and blood. James slowly unclenched his fists. He took a deep breath, swallowing the pride of a grown man. He took a step toward Mr. Hoan. The sound of his shoes grinding on the gravel broke the silence. Seeing James approach, Mr. Hoan instinctively stepped back slightly, his grip tightening on the bags. He was afraid James was going to snatch the girl and leave immediately. But no, James stopped 2 steps away. He bowed his head, the lowest, most respectful bow he had given his father since the day he ran away from home. "Dad." The call was soft, but echoed in the quiet night. James looked up, his eyes no longer burning with hatred, but swimming in remorse. I'm sorry, Dad." Mr. Hoan was stunned. His eyes widened in surprise. He hadn't heard James say those words in 5 years. James continued, his voice trembling every word, coming from the bottom of his heart. "Just now, I was too angry. I was rash. I didn't know you took Lee out to play. I thought you were hurting her to force my hand. I judged you wrong." James took another step, reaching out to take the heavy bags from Mr. Hoan's hands. "Here, let me carry these. You're getting old. Holding these must hurt your hands." The act of taking those bags carried a massive symbolic meaning. It wasn't just relieving a physical burden. It was James accepting to open his heart, accepting to tear down the wall between father and son. "You love me too. I know that now," James said, his voice choked, his eyes red. "Thank you, Dad. Thank you for loving my daughter, even though I've never done anything to make you proud. If I've wronged you, please forgive me." Mrs. Lon stood by the door, covering her mouth to stifle her broken sobs. Standing behind James Diep's tears fell silently. She understood just how much of an internal battle her husband had fought. To say those words, Mr. Hoan stood rooted to the spot. His hands were empty now that James had taken the bags, but his heart was filling with an intense warmth he had never felt before. He looked at his only son. He had truly grown up. He was no longer that stubborn little boy who used to talk back to him constantly. He was a father, now a man who knew how to bow his head, admit his faults, and understand what was right. Mr. Hoan's nose stung. After a lifetime of battling in the business world, being backstabbed by rivals, losing billions of dong, he had never shed a tear. But in the face of his son's sincere apology, the gray tiger of the Vu clan could no longer hold it back. 2 lines of cloudy tears rolled down his wrinkled cheeks. "James!" He called his son's name, his voice cracking and hoarse. He spread his trembling arms, and in an emotional breakthrough, he pulled James into a tight hug, an embrace between 2 men. Tight, awkward, but holding all the fatherly love that had been suppressed for so many years. James wrapped his arms around his father's stooped back. He smelled the familiar scent of tobacco sweat and felt the violent trembling of his father's body. His dad was so much thinner than he remembered. "I'm sorry." Mr. Hoan sobbed, the cry bursting from his aged chest. "It was my fault. I was wrong, son." He patted James's back hard, as if pouring out his heart. "I was too authoritarian. I thought I was doing what was best for you, ensuring you had a bright future. I forced you to marry someone you didn't love. I stopped you from following your passion. I didn't understand you. I made you suffer, made you run away, endure hunger and cold." Mr. Hoan let go of James, gripping his son's shoulders tightly, looking straight into his eyes. Can you forgive this stubborn old man? I don't need fame. I don't need a marriage of equal social status anymore. I just need you. I need my grandchild. I just need our family together." Then he turned to Diem, who was standing timidly behind them. His gaze softened. Gone was the scrutinizing, contemptuous look of before. "And you too, Diem," he said, his voice lowering. "I apologize to you. I was too harsh. Thank you. Thank you for giving me such a wonderful grandchild and for taking care of James during his hardest times when I wasn't there." Diem burst into tears, only able to nod. All the resentment and humiliation she had felt for so long vanished with the tears of this old father. "Baby." Nye stood in the middle, seeing everyone cry. Her face crumpled up too. But then she grinned wide, running to hug both her grandpa and daddy's legs. Yay! The whole family loves each other now. No more yelling. The child's laughter rang out like a bell. bringing a complete end to the family's gloomy tragedy. After the emotional moments passed, Mr. Hoan wiped his tears, trying to regain his usual composure, though the smile on his lips was now gentler than ever. He checked his watch, then looked at Mrs. Land standing happily by the door. "Hey, wife, what are you standing there for? Go tell the cook to set the table." Then he turned to James and Diem, his voice decisive, but full of affection. "It's late. You two and little Nee. Since you're here, come inside and have dinner with Mom and Dad." James and Diem looked at each other. This invitation wasn't just about a meal. It was validation. For the first time, Diem could walk into this house with her head held high as a daughter-in-law, a family member, not an outsider or a gold digger. "Yes, Dad." James squeezed Diem's hand, smiling and nodding. "We'd love to have dinner with you." The whole family walked into the house together. Mr. Hoan carried baby Nee in front, asking as he walked, "After we eat, Grandpa will unwrap the chocolate for you, okay?" James and Diem followed their hearts, as light as if a 1,000-pound burden had been lifted. The dining room of the villa was ablaze with light. A hot meal was served. The aroma of food blended with the warmth of family bonding. However, as everyone sat down at the table, Mr. Hoan suddenly put down his chopsticks, his expression becoming unusually serious. He looked at James, then at Diem. His eyes filled with calculation and thought. "After dinner, I have something important to discuss with you two." Mr. Hoan said, his voice dropping to a mysterious whisper. "It concerns Nee's future, and also a secret about Diem's late mother that I stumbled upon." Diem startled, dropping her chopsticks onto the table with a loud clatter. Her mother. The mother who mysteriously disappeared years ago, whom she had never even met. Why would Mr. Hoan know about her? The warm atmosphere instantly chilled, giving way to a creeping curiosity and anxiety. Just when we thought the storm had passed and the sky was clear after that tearful reconciliation. No, the first family reunion dinner wasn't even over before Mr. Hoan dropped a bombshell of shocking information. Why does the Vu family patriarch know about the mysterious background of Diem's mother? Is it possible Diem isn't the poor orphan girl everyone thought she was? Is there some tangled connection between Diem's family and the dark past of Mr. Hoan's corporation? Is Mr. Hoan's post-dinner proposal a favor or a new calculated arrangement? That dinner at the Vu Villa was perhaps the most delicious meal in 30 years. Not because of exotic delicacies, but because of a spice called family. When the chopsticks were finally laid down, Mrs. Lan poured her husband a cup of fragrant lotus tea. Mr. Hoan took a sip, his eyes scanning the three faces sitting opposite him: his wife, his son, his daughter-in-law, and his grandchild, who was perched on her chair munching on dessert. He cleared his throat. Out of old habit, James and Diem immediately sat up straight, holding their breath, waiting for a command or a lecture. The shadow of years of strictness couldn't be erased instantly, but pshoo. Mr. Hoan set his teacup down his fingers, drumming rhythmically on the wooden table, his face looking a bit awkward. "James! Diem!" He started, his eyes drifting to the vase of roses on the table. "Yes, Dad," James replied. "Tonight, the moon is bright, the breeze is cool. I feel like sitting around after eating is sluggish. How about..." Mr. Hoan hesitated, then decided to say it quickly. "How about the whole family goes to the amusement park? I heard the new park is very beautiful, lots of lights, Nee would definitely like it. Silence reigned for 3 full seconds. James stared at his father wide-eyed, as if looking at an alien. Diem's jaw dropped in surprise. Even Mrs. Lan was so stunned, she dropped her table rag. Mr. Hoan, the man who year-round only knew contracts, projects, and client meetings, was asking his children to go to an amusement park. What, you don't want to go? Seeing everyone silent, Mr. Hoan turned red, acting pouted like a child. If not, then fine, I'm going to my study. Go. We'll go, Dad. James shot up a radiant smile, blooming on his lips. I was just so surprised. That's a wonderful idea, Dad. Nye loves parks. I want to go. I want to go to the park. Baby. Nye cheered, jumping off her chair and running to hug her grandpa's legs. Grandpa, take Nye to see the wooden horses. Mr. Hoan bent down, scooping his granddaughter up, the proud smile returning to his lips. All right, Grandpa, we'll take Nye to see horses, elephants, and even princesses. Let's go right now. James and Diem looked at each other, their eyes sparkling with happiness. They realized their father was trying to make amends. He was trying to learn how to be a normal father, a normal grandfather, something he had missed out on for half his life while chasing money. The luxury car pulled up in front of the amusement park gate, which was blazing with neon lights. The scene here was bustling, filled with loud music, the laughter of children, the scent of sweet cotton candy, and the aroma of buttery popcorn wafting through the air. It was the complete opposite of Mr. Hoan's cold office world. Mr. Hoan stepped out of the car. He was still wearing his expensive suit and shiny leather shoes, looking out of place among the crowd of parents in shorts and t-shirts. But he didn't care. Where's Nee? Come here and hold Grandpa's hand so you don't get lost. Mr. Hoan extended his large hand. Baby Nye immediately let go of Diem's hand and ran over to grip her grandpa's index finger tight. Grandpa, the lights are so pretty, Grandpa. What animal is that? Nee chirped questions nonstop. And a miracle happened. Mr. Hoan, famous for being a man of few words and difficult to please, was now patiently answering every single innocent question. That's a Pikachu, sweetie. Those are LED lights, they can blink. They strolled down tree-lined paths, decorated with thousands of twinkling light strings. James and Diem walked a bit behind hand in hand. James whispered to his wife, "Do you believe your eyes? Is that really my dad?" Diem smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. That's Dad. A grandfather who loves his grandchild dearly. See, family love has a tremendous power. It melts even the thickest ice. Reaching the carousel, Baby Nee demanded to ride. Mr. Hoan awkwardly bought tickets. The ticket seller looked at him and giggled. "Sir, are you going up to ride with her or staying down here?" Mr. Hoan looked down at his expensive suit, then met Nee's expectant gaze. "Absolutely. If my grandchild is riding, I have to ride too, to keep her safe." And so, the entire park witnessed a delightful spectacle. An old man in a full suit and tie perched awkwardly on the back of a gilded wooden horse, holding tight to his granddaughter as she laughed hysterically. Every time the carousel spun past James and Diem, Mr. Hoan tried to look cool, all while waving frantically. James quickly pulled out his phone to snap a picture. It was perhaps the most beautiful, most human photo of his father he had ever taken. Leaving the park at the request of the little princess, the group moved to a nearby shopping mall to buy toys. If Mr. Hoan was the fun grandpa at the park inside the mall, he returned to his true nature as a tycoon. But a tycoon who was absolutely obsessed with his grandchild. Little Nee marched ahead, hands clasped behind her back, walking exactly like her grandfather. Mr. Hoan walked right beside her. Nee turned left. He turned left. Nee stopped to look at something. He stopped to look too. She was like a little shadow trailing him while he acted like a giant bodyguard protecting his princess. "Grandpa, this doll has a pretty pink dress." Nye pointed at a box on the shelf. "Get it!" Mr. Hoan waved his hand, tossing it into the cart immediately. "Grandpa, this cooking set even has a gas stove. Take that too." Mr. Hoan didn't even look at the price tag. James walked behind, breaking into a cold sweat. He ran up and whispered, "Dad, take it easy. Nye has plenty of toys already. Buying this much will spoil her rotten." Mr. Hoan turned around, shooting his son a sharp glare, but filled with love. What do you know? Back then, I was busy. I couldn't buy things for you. Now I'm making up for it with my grandchild. If I don't spend my money on her, is it just going to sit there and rot? Don't you dare forbid me." Then he turned back to Nye, his voice dripping with sweetness. "Is there anything else you like, Nye? Grandpa can buy this whole supermarket for you if you want." Nee grinned, squinting her eyes, but she was a very well-behaved child. She ran back, grabbed a simple brown teddy bear, and ran toward James. "Grandpa, I don't want to buy anything else. I'm just taking this bear for Daddy James. Daddy was crying this afternoon, so I'm giving him the bear to make him stop." Nee's action made all three adults freeze. Mr. Hoan paused, looking at his grandchild, then at his son. He realized this child didn't just resemble him in looks. She had inherited Diem's kind heart. Mr. Hoan sat down, patting Nee's head, his voice trembling with emotion. "You're such a good girl. It's good to love your daddy." "All right, that's enough shopping for today. When we get home, Grandpa will read you a fairy tale." The image of the grandfather and grandchild holding hands, walking to the register. His tall figure and her tiny one cast long shadows across the granite floor, intertwining inseparable. On the way back, exhausted from the excitement, little Nee fell fast asleep in her grandfather's arms in the back seat. Mr. Hoan sat statue still, daring not to move a muscle for fear of waking her. Gazing at the sleeping angel's face, his heart felt a strange, profound peace. James drove occasionally, glancing at the rearview mirror with a happy smile. Diem sat in the passenger seat, her hand resting gently on his. "I never expected this day to come," James said softly. "It feels like a dream." "It's real, honey," Diem replied. "The storm has passed. Now is the time for our family to rebuild from the ground up." The car glided smoothly to the villa gates. The moon shone brilliantly tonight, illuminating the quiet garden. All the animosity and suffering of the past seemed to have been blown away by the wind. Mr. Hoan carried his grandchild into the house, placed her gently on the bed, and tucked her in carefully. He stood there watching me for a long time, then turned off the light and closed the door. He stepped out onto the second-floor balcony and lit a cigarette. James followed, standing beside his father. The two men stood side by side, looking out toward the distant city lights. "Thank you, Dad," James said. "Thank you for bringing her back to me," Mr. Hoan replied, the smoke drifting lazily in the air. "Starting tomorrow, you go back to the company. I'm getting old. I want to spend my time playing with my grandchild. The chairman's seat. You better start getting used to sitting in it." James was stunned. His father was handing over power, the thing he used to value more than life itself. in exchange for peaceful moments with his granddaughter. Tonight, the Vu family drifted into sleep in complete happiness. But across the street, lurking silently under the dense foliage of an ancient mahogany tree, sat a black car with its engine off. The window was rolled down halfway. A pair of cold, calculating eyes watched every joyful move of Mr. Hoan's family through binoculars. The man in the car smirked a dangerous half-smile. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. "Hello, madam." Just as predicted, Old Man Hoan has been completely won over by the little girl. He has let his guard down. Operation Golden Cicada can begin tomorrow. Good. A cold female voice rang out from the other end of the line. Let them enjoy this night. Tomorrow, I will take back everything that belongs to me, including the secret of Baby Nee's true identity. The black car slowly rolled away, disappearing into the night, leaving behind an ominous premonition for the coming day. Happiness is fleeting. Just when Mr. Hoan decided to let go of power, to enjoy his old age with his children and grandchildren, the ghost of the past has risen right outside the villa gates. Who is the mysterious spy watching the Vu family in the dark? What grudge does the madame behind that chilling phone call hold against Mr. Hoan? And most terrifying of all, what is the secret about Nee's identity that they mentioned? Is it possible that Nee is not James's biological daughter? Or is there an even more horrific truth related to DM's missing mother? The real storm is only just beginning. A conspiracy to steal the family fortune and tear the bonds of affection apart is crashing down. Will Mr. Hoan and James be able to react in time? Hit like to pray for Baby Nee's safety and click the subscribe button immediately. The next episode will be a life or death confrontation you cannot miss.